welcome everyone and to another book review today. So guys, today's book is actually really special. I know I say it about everything, but they are. So guys, today's book I actually won from my good friend, Coffee Cats and King. A couple months back, I believe by the time I post this video, he did like a subscriber live stream special and I won this book, which was absolutely perfect because today's book is about a cat. So guys, today's book is called To Summon a Hellcat, A Tale of the Occult. And before we do anything, let's take a look. Is that cover not just beautiful? Look at those eyes. For all my cat lovers and my horror people, is that not beautiful? Yeah. My favorite, I think, though, is like these little like bursts of like fire coming out there. Kind of like you get, you know, blown off of a bonfire or something. I love that. So to give you guys a little bit of an overview about this book, no worries, no spoilers. It is set in West Virginia, Jefferson County, as a matter of fact, but not that that made me biased or anything. So you are following a man by the name of Waylon Geddes. Now, maybe it's Jedds. In my head, I called him Geddes, so that's what I'm calling him for this review. And essentially, as the book goes on, you're actually also following his friend Buck with him, so they become more of a duo as the book progresses. But the main character is Waylon, and he's the mayor of a town called Sweetwater. And it is just your average backwoods town, really. Nothing to really shake a stick at, but a lot of things start happening and you really get thrown into the action right away because you have some witchcraft essentially happening, some very ancient witchcraft. And you kind of get thrown into the action, but then kind of drawn back out. And let me explain that. Right away, you get the origin story of your Hellcat, like how he comes to be. But then the book kind of takes a step back and gives you like the lay of the land and the characters and all of this. Kind of gives you, you know, some character traits, things like that, before you get really into the Hellcat part of this story. So I want to pause here and say, while I was reading the little blurb, like the about the author section in the back of this book, R.P. Wood is his name. I know I'm really bad about not saying that. R.P. Wood. It said that he's a fan of Stephen King, that that's one of his influences. And if you read my little blurb, you guys know I don't really do reviews on Goodreads, but my little blurb on Goodreads, I can definitely see some King influence here. Now allow me to explain that. I feel like if you have read King in any capacity, you're going to see a little bit of that in this book. Not so much in the story or the characters, anything like that. I mean like the way the story flows. There's something about the way the story is being told that made me really harken back to King and like just his writing style. Not that I'm the biggest King fan in the world, you know, but I have read probably a handful of his stuff and this really put me in mind of his style just in the storytelling. Again, not so much in the characters or anything like that. It's just something about the way the story flows put me in mind of King. Now, I loved this. I really did. I thought it was a fantastic story. You really get everything from this Waylon guy. You get his thoughts, you get his backstory, all of that. But the one caveat I see, now it wasn't an issue for me, but the one caveat I see is I really feel like some people could get bored at certain parts of this. You guys know by now, I like detail. I like diving deep into my characters. You know, yes, tell me all about your messy divorce, tell me about your kids' homework, all that. But I can see where that would bore some people. There were some parts in here that did seem to drag, and it put me in mind of some reviews that I've watched where people say like, oh, you could have shaved 50 to 100 pages off of here and it'd been fine. That probably could have happened. You probably could have taken at least a good 50 pages out of here and not done any harm to the story. Again, that's not a problem for me. I like detail like that. But that's me, so maybe keep that in mind as you're reading. And I have to say, because it is 400 pages, it is a little bit of a slow burn. Not much. But I really think, again, harkening back to that like King-like telling, I really think that the author did a really good job of kind of building up to this like crescendo, you know? And for those of you who read horror, you're not going to be surprised as to where, you know, everything leads. You know, it's very predictable as it goes on. Doesn't take away from the joy of the story at all. There's some wonderful horror scenes, you know, and one thing I like about this is that there were some depictions of like body horror-esque type stuff because there's some people who are killed, obviously, but they don't linger on it. They give you like, hey, this happened, and then they move on, which I appreciated. Because, you know, that's not your focus here. Your focus is what the hell's happening with this entity, this cat, you know, and get the hell on with the story. I appreciated that. Now, I will say, you guys know this is always what I say in my books, always. I would have loved a little bit more backstory on the cat. I really would have. But again, that's a me thing. I really liked the scenes where our two main characters, Buck and Waylon, were gleaning some info about what was happening with this cat, like where it came from, yada, yada, yada. The whole idea, because it is like a mind control kind of deal happening, and if you like that, you're gonna love this story. There were some supernatural elements, you know, there's a smattering of body horror, you know, simply because of the nature of what goes down with the cat and everything in the town. Good storytelling. If you like a good sink your teeth into kind of story, this is for you, because you are told every little facet. You are told about different people in the town, how they play together, all of this. But I have to say, I really enjoyed learning about Waylon and Buck, like their friendship, as the book went on. I really came to like Buck. I didn't really care for him when the book started. I felt like, this is a throwaway character. But I really came to like him towards the end. And I liked their friendship. It was very like 80s movie kind of friendship, you know, like, I'm here for you, bro. But I'm not being like cringy. I mean, like, that's sort of what I got from it, you know, like, these two guys, like, all they have are each other, you know, everything else has went to shit. And I don't know, I liked that. But it was very like 80s movie-esque to me, especially towards the end, which, again, I don't mind. Maybe you would. You might find that kind of cringy. You might find the ending kind of cringy. And I do feel like, you know, just trying to be fair here, I do feel like there are some people who would read this book and say, that's been done, because it has. But it's still a good story. You know, I don't mind knowing where, you know, a next step is in a story if the story is told well, you know? Like, it doesn't bother me. You know, if that bothers you and you want to be, like, shocked at every page, then this isn't for you. But I don't mind that, you know, and I really think that our author, R.P. Wood, did a fantastic job telling the story. Now, I haven't gotten to the best part. The ending. It is a surprise ending. A real surprise ending. Not like, kind of surprise, but it doesn't come out where you think it's going to. And after all of this buildup, after all of this storytelling, and literally I was like, okay, they're gonna do this next, and then this is gonna happen. And then I got to the end, literally like the last, I don't know, 3 pages from the end. As a matter of fact, I wanna say, let's look together. I wanna say it's the epilogue, yes. Yeah, the epilogue. It doesn't end the way you think it will. It just doesn't. And that's all I'm gonna tell you. But the epilogue is literally, I don't even think it's like 5 pages. That's how long you have to wait. So guys, that is To Summon a Hellcat, A Story of the Occult. I really think that this is a perfect read for like going into fall. Those of you who like to plan stuff like that, you guys know I don't do that, but I can see this being like a really good read going into fall, maybe a month or so before Halloween, something like that, you know. It's not like over the top horror, it's not over the top mystery or blah blah blah. It's just a nice even keel story with some supernatural elements, with some horror elements. It's good. It's good. And like I said, one of the better stories, I hope that makes sense, one of the better stories that I've read. There's a lot of focus on telling the story, which I really, really appreciate, because sometimes you get books that get so caught up in, I want to be gross, or I want to, you know, have this character and tell you every single facet of his life and forget the story, you know, screw whatever happened. No, this one was a good story. So if you really like just following a trail, going on a journey, I think you're going to like To Summon a Hellcat. Well guys, that is it. Thank you for hanging out for another book review here in the Panic Room. Please, if you like this, hit like, hit subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, bye for now.